Hey Kendrick, want to play speed golf at 5:30?
You talking about, boy? 5:30 in the motherfucking morning.
So what?
No.
Before the world tuned in to the Super Bowl halftime show, an invisible war was playing out behind the scenes. Two of hip-hop's most iconic names, Kendrick Lamar and Drake, were no longer just battling on the charts, but on the biggest stage in the world. What looked like a celebration of music was something far more layered. Hidden shots, coded messages, and one rapper seizing a global moment to say everything without saying a word. Let's break it down, chapter by chapter. Before things boiled over in public, Kendrick and Drake had already built years of subtle rivalry. Their feud wasn't born out of one diss track. It was layered in interviews, industry whispers, and contrasting visions of what hip-hop should be. Kendrick, the purist, often demanded lyrical depth and authenticity. Drake, the global hitmaker, blurred the lines between rap, pop, and R&B. As each rose in fame, fans noticed the tension in their collaborations, the shade in their verses, in the competition over the crown. It wasn't beef yet, but it was brewing, and it was undeniable. In 2013, Kendrick Lamar dropped a verse on Big Sean's Control that hip-hop still hasn't forgotten. He didn't just call out Drake, he named nearly every top rapper, declaring himself the king of New York while being from Compton. Though the verse wasn't directly aggressive, its competitive tone sent shockwaves. Drake publicly played it cool, but fans knew the message was meant for him. The move shifted energy in the game. Kendrick had officially drawn a line in the sand, and he did it without dropping a diss track of his own. It was chess, not checkers. Drake's response to the Control verse was low-key, but cutting. In interviews, he dismissed it as an ambitious thought, brushing Kendrick's challenge aside. But subtle shots crept into his lyrics, from the language to 6 p.m. in New York. Drake had mastered the art of passive aggression in music. His bars had double meanings, and while he never named Kendrick, fans dissected every line. This wasn't the typical rap battle format. It was psychological warfare, and Drake used his charm, success, and streaming dominance as weapons. He wouldn't bite publicly, but he wouldn't ignore it either. For years, Kendrick and Drake remained in each other's orbit. They avoided direct shots, but everyone could feel the tension. Their rare collaborations, like Poetic Justice, were often cited as proof that things weren't hostile. But silence can speak volumes. While they smiled in public, both continued to take lyrical digs from a distance. Kendrick's King Kunta was layered in competitive pride. Drake's Summer 16 included jabs about pool sizes and dominance. The public was starving for a real face-off, but both rappers seemed to be playing the long game. As news broke that Kendrick Lamar would perform at the Super Bowl, social media lit up. Fans wondered if he'd use the platform to address his silent rivals. Speculation grew that Kendrick might be planning a subtle strike, masked in performance art. The Super Bowl isn't just a show, it's a statement. Kendrick, who rarely performs live outside album cycles, wouldn't take that stage lightly. People began dissecting the set list, the rumored outfits, even possible guest appearances. Was it just music, or was he gearing up to fire a shot seen by millions?
Specifically, where are you at with the J. Cole? Specifically, where are you at with the Drake?
I respect their music. I respect them as individuals and creators. I think what the media tried to do is insane because they take these black young brothers and really try to clash it and make bump heads. That's not right, because hip-hop was something that wasn't supposed to be here for this long. I'm sure you know, Big. Sure. And the more we do that, the more they'll try to tear it down.
In 2022, Kendrick released Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, an introspective, layered project filled with heavy themes. At first glance, it didn't seem like a diss album, but fans started noticing certain bars that felt pointed. In N95 and Silent Hill, Kendrick took jabs at rappers obsessed with fame, filters, and fake personas. Things many associate with Drake's carefully crafted image. Kendrick wasn't throwing direct punches. He was crafting mirrors. Subtext was everything. And for those who knew their history, it was clear. The tension wasn't dead, it was just getting smarter. When Drake and 21 Savage dropped Her Loss in 2022, the lines got sharper. On songs like Circo Loco and Middle of the Ocean, Drake sent warnings to unnamed rivals, accusing them of being industry plants, hiding behind conscious rap. or pretending to be elite while living off past moments. The subliminals felt aimed directly at Kendrick. Unlike other beefs, this one never needed names. The fans knew. Drake's verses became increasingly icy, and though he kept his usual swagger, it was clear he was addressing someone specific, and Kendrick was top of that list. February 2024, Kendrick Lamar took the stage at the Super Bowl halftime show. What followed wasn't just a performance, it was a statement. From the militaristic choreography to the backdrop resembling old Compton streets, Kendrick brought both art and attitude. But the real moment? His decision to include Not Like Us, a song many believed was aimed directly at Drake. The crowd roared, but hip-hop heads caught the message. He wasn't just performing, he was claiming a legacy on the biggest stage, while sending a shot that echoed across the industry. After the Super Bowl, Drake didn't stay silent. He didn't name Kendrick, but he didn't have to. A cryptic Instagram story featured a smirking selfie with the caption, "Oscar-worthy performance." Many took it as sarcasm, a shot at Kendrick's theatrical approach. Others read it deeper. Drake was mocking the idea that performance art could replace real bars. It was subtle, classic Drake. He rarely engages directly unless absolutely necessary. But even this single post reignited debate and showed that he felt the sting. Whether playful or passive-aggressive, the war was still on. The internet exploded post-Super Bowl. Forums, Twitter threads, Reddit subs, and TikTok clips flooded with debates. Was Kendrick dissing Drake live on stage? Did Drake clap back with that post? Was it all planned hype, or was this real beef? Fans analyzed gestures, outfits, song choices. It was more than fandom, it became tribal. Kendrick fans praised his artistic integrity. Drake fans pointed to chart dominance and consistency. The culture was split, and in true rap tradition, the audience had become part of the show. Every like, retweet, and reaction only added fuel to the fire. Kendrick and Drake aren't just rivals. They represent two schools of rap. Kendrick positions himself as the voice of truth, pain, and revolution. Drake, meanwhile, champions emotion, lifestyle, and versatility. For years, Kendrick has subtly challenged the kind of fame Drake built, arguing that chart success doesn't equal cultural depth. Lines like, "I am not your savior," pushed against performative activism, an idea some fans felt shaded Drake's brand of commercial enlightenment. It wasn't about numbers. Kendrick was aiming at values. And in doing so, the gap between their worlds and their fans kept widening. Drake's partnership with 21 Savage put another twist in the feud. Kendrick had previously collaborated with 21 on Mr. Right Now, and fans speculated whether this triangle had tension. 21 stayed neutral publicly, but Kendrick's fans noticed subtle differences in tone when 21 was with Drake versus Kendrick. Industry politics were in play. As Drake brought 21 deeper into his orbit, it seemed like a power move, a quiet attempt to out-connect Kendrick, who often stands alone. The rap world doesn't need direct disses. Loyalty shifts to speak volumes. Kendrick's greatest weapon may be his silence. Unlike Drake, who often drops albums, freestyles, and Instagram stories, Kendrick vanishes. He doesn't respond to dices, he doesn't tweet subliminals, and that silence drives speculation wild. When he finally appears, on stage or in a verse, every word is dissected. His absences build tension, forcing rivals to talk in the meantime. Kendrick plays the long game. He makes Drake do the heavy lifting publicly, while he crafts surgical strikes behind the scenes. When he talks, it matters, and that in itself is intimidating. Drake has always cared about perception. While he's charted more than almost any rapper in history, he still gets questioned about authenticity. That's where Kendrick becomes a threat, not just as a lyricist, but as a symbol. Kendrick doesn't chase relevance, he commands it. Drake knows it. That's why even a one-line diss from Kendrick causes waves. To Drake, staying on top means staying in control of the narrative. And when Kendrick refuses to play by Drake's rules, that disrupts everything. For Drake, this isn't just music, it's legacy management. Behind closed doors, the music industry is watching. Execs, artists, managers, everyone knows this feud is bubbling. Some are choosing sides privately. Others stay quiet, not wanting to lose favor with either giant. This isn't just a rap beef, it's a political standoff. Festivals, collabs, and award shows become delicate territory. One wrong alliance can burn a bridge, but no one dares speak publicly yet. That's the level of power both Kendrick and Drake hold. Their feud affects not only fans but careers. And everyone knows the next move could change everything. In 2017, Kendrick dropped Damn, a critically acclaimed album that explored identity, survival, and faith. While it won a Pulitzer Prize, it lost Album of the Year at the Grammys to Bruno Mars. Drake, known for dominating award shows and charts, took the W that night with his commercial hits getting all the shine. For many, it was proof that substance often loses to style. Kendrick didn't speak on it, but the loss fueled a deeper resentment in fans and possibly in Kendrick himself. It was another reminder that the industry doesn't always reward depth. Drake's OVO Sound and Kendrick's PG Lang are more than music labels. They're entire ecosystems. OVO is about lifestyle, branding, and tight-knit production. PG Lang, co-founded with Dave Free, leans toward visual art, film, storytelling, and deeper cultural commentary. These entities reflect their creators. Kendrick's PG Lang rarely markets itself. It's cryptic, intentional, mysterious. OVO, meanwhile, is sleek and globally marketed. This isn't just a music war, it's brand warfare. With every rollout and every signing, the difference becomes clearer. Drake wants the world. Kendrick wants to shift it, and their companies are their weapons. When Kendrick collaborated with Billie Eilish for a surprise remix, it caught fans off guard. Billie, an industry darling who often avoids drama, praised Kendrick's artistry, calling him the greatest storyteller alive. Subtle? Maybe, but it felt like a quiet cosign from the alternative pop world. Drake has collaborated with big names, but Kendrick's link with Billie gave him cultural capital with a new generation. The message was clear. Even the new wave respects Kendrick's mind. And in this game of influence, respect counts just as much as sales. Drake's surprise EP Scary Hours 3 came loaded with bars. While never saying Kendrick's name, many fans believed he was all over those verses. Lines like, "I outlast thinkers," and "they preach but can't perform," echoed past critiques of Kendrick's intense, cerebral image. This was classic Drake, elevating himself while diminishing others subtly. The difference this time? He sounded more agitated, more competitive, more ready. The calm was cracking. If Drake was going to respond to the Super Bowl moment, Scary Hours 3 was the prelude. The war was officially heating up. Fans waited for Kendrick to speak. A podcast, an interview, a press appearance, anything. But it never came. That silence, it spoke louder than a verse. Kendrick knows timing is everything. By saying nothing, he controlled the narrative. The world speculated while he stayed in the shadows, letting every YouTuber, blogger, and fan do the talking. Drake filled the airwaves. Kendrick owned the silence. In a world where clout is king, Kendrick's refusal to chase it made him even more powerful. And the absence? It made people nervous. As the Kendrick-Drake tension played out, underground and rising rappers started choosing sides, some for clout, others out of genuine loyalty. Artists inspired by Kendrick's lyricism began dissing Drake subtly in freestyles, while others mocked Kendrick's serious poet persona. Suddenly, the beef wasn't just between two megastars, it was seeping into the DNA of modern rap. Some even dropped tracks trying to bait a response from either side. Kendrick and Drake never responded to these undercards, but fans knew. The entire culture was shifting. Their silence became the spark behind others' noise. One day after the Super Bowl, a leaked Kendrick diss track surfaced online. Within hours, it trended across Twitter and Reddit. Fans dissected every lyric, every bar, convinced it was a scorched earth attack on Drake. But by the next day, the source was debunked. AI-generated, fake. Still, it shook the internet. Why? Because people wanted it to be real. The appetite for this battle was so intense, even a fake record caused chaos. It proved the public was ready, begging for these two to finally face off directly. Another overlooked battleground? The women surrounding their art. Drake has always centered women in his music. Love, betrayal, fame, desire. Kendrick, meanwhile, often speaks of women as metaphors for growth, trauma, and social constructs. While neither artist disrespects women directly, their perspectives reflect different emotional styles. Fans started comparing how women were portrayed, valued, and used in their catalogs. Did Drake over-romanticize toxic cycles? Did Kendrick moralize too much? Suddenly, the discussion around them wasn't just lyrical, it was philosophical. Even gender narratives were becoming part of the beef. Jay-Z, mentor to both Drake and Kendrick at different points, has stayed neutral. But that doesn't mean he's not watching. Kendrick has cited Hobb as a blueprint for lyrical longevity. Drake has called Jay the pinnacle of rap business success. As this Cold War intensifies, Jay-Z's approval still means everything, and yet he hasn't co-signed either publicly in recent years. That silence, it's powerful. Some speculate that Jay is waiting to see who outlasts who. Others think he's pulling strings quietly. Either way, his influence looms over both careers. As odd as it sounds, even the algorithms seem to play favorites. After Kendrick's Super Bowl performance, his older albums started populating on more homepages. Playlists shifted. Drake's newer releases dropped slightly in rotation, only to rebound days later. Fans noticed. Was it Spotify's editorial team pushing narratives, or just public interest driving numbers? Either way, the platforms became part of the battlefield. Because in 2025, dominance isn't just on the charts, it's in the data. And both artists know how to weaponize attention. In 2024, whispers began circulating that Drake and Kendrick were in talks for a joint album. Fans went wild. Could this long-standing rivalry finally lead to a groundbreaking project? But as quickly as the rumors started, they faded. Neither artist confirmed anything. Yet the possibility of a collaboration left fans wondering, was the tension for real or just a marketing ploy? For Kendrick, the idea of working with Drake might be more about strategy than musical chemistry. And for Drake, maybe it's about finally ending the Cold War on his terms, or maybe not. In Scary Hours 3, Drake's lyric, "Falling icons can't keep up with my run," dropped, and fans immediately thought of Kendrick. The line wasn't explicitly about him, but many interpreted it as a reminder of how quickly musical icons can fade. Kendrick, with his carefully calculated moves, had avoided dropping an album for a while, letting the suspense build. In contrast, Drake was consistently feeding the public's appetite for music. Was Drake acknowledging Kendrick's absence, or was it a shot at his slower pace? It felt like an underhanded swipe. Kendrick Lamar's approach to social media is one of mystery and calculated silence. When he drops music, it's a statement. His occasional Instagram posts are rare, often cryptic. Fans interpret every move. In contrast, Drake is a social media king, posting everything from motivational quotes to intimate details of his personal life. This difference isn't just in style, it's in philosophy. Kendrick doesn't need to be seen. His art speaks for him. Drake thrives in the spotlight. This stark contrast fuels their rivalry. One thrives on visibility, the other on silence. As the drama built, many wondered, would Kendrick finally throw the final verse that ended it all? Would he drop a track, a diss, or a line that made it undeniable? The truth is, Kendrick doesn't need to. His entire career has been defined by subtlety in art. He doesn't have to make a grand gesture. His storytelling does the heavy lifting. If Kendrick were to fire back, it wouldn't be in the usual ways. It would be in his lyrics, his message, his visuals. And when he does, the world will know. No matter how their rivalry ends, Kendrick and Drake have both secured their places in history. They've shaped the culture, defined an era, and changed the conversation. Kendrick might not play by the same rules, but his impact is undeniable. Drake might embrace the limelight, but his influence is far-reaching. The truth is, these two won't be remembered for their beef. They'll be remembered for raising the stakes, for keeping hip-hop alive in a way no one else could. Their legacy, whether through competition or collaboration, will last far beyond the charts.